Well, we are actually getting closer to set 4.5. Let's talk about how you're gonna rank up until then and then flash that diamond or master emote and border in the ranked lobbies. Early game is more important than ever since damage is high, so let's avoid being hit. You know, like in life, you dodge. Maybe trip them up as well, or maybe you get tripped up. And then when you are tripping, then you could quite literally fall for me. Hi, I'm single. Yeah, this is not a TFT video anymore. This is me trying to look for a girlfriend or a duo partner for life, and also motivational one. Yeah, we should probably move on before Eye of the Tiger starts playing, and oh, for the love of God. Hello everyone, welcome back to another ProGuides TFT video. Today we're gonna be talking about the early game strategies and specific boards that can help you guys bring that first place. Managing to have a good early game is important, as the HP lead alone can move you into top 4 finish, even if you don't exactly make the best comp you could. With mid game being a lot more damage heavy, we need to be able to maintain a strong board while damaging opponents for all we're worth. Sometimes, even if you lose matchups from 4-1 onwards, you can still clinch that top 4 if you have a great early. In this video, we'll be talking about early game potential openers, their strengths and positioning, early game vanilla champions, items that are great early, and leveling options fitting the meta. As for the more specific mid game boards, they are included in our other videos of top 3 comps, for example. And we'll also make a more targeted video on them on Sunday, covering possible ways to transition to mid game board to a late game team comp. For our question of the day, what is your favorite opener? Hit us in the comments below with your opinion. For me, it's gotta be the Demon Slayer one. But I also want to know what your TFT opener is. Before we dive right on in, I just want to let you know that we have a Discord community and a new subreddit that is growing really fast. We have you to thank for that, and we want to continue building our community and helping you be a part of it. Make sure you check out the link in the description down below. See y'all there. Early game. Let's go ahead and start off by talking about the strong openers. Bear in mind that with this set, the chosen mechanic really warps generic strong early boards. There are too many combinations to count that could potentially go wrong, depending on the lobby's luck as well. We will be listing generic strong ones here, but we'll definitely not catch them all. 2 vanguards plus any unit. This can be achieved by a chosen Garen or Wukong, but it doesn't have to be. Wukong is not that strong of a scaling chosen anymore, but he still does well early game, and Garen's strength, specifically with Sunfire Cape, is undisputed. For the other 1 or 2 units, you can aim to complement their traits by looking out on a Jax or 2 Warlords for Garen. If you have a chosen Garen, you can of course go and forego the Wukong and add a Sharpshooter for Nicolai, which will increase your damage even farther. This is doable without a chosen as well, and if you have a Thresh, you can go ahead and get Vanguard, Sharpshooter, Dusk, a strong all-around opener that can carry you to 5 wins and some 2 stars. This opener assumes that you level to 4 as soon as possible, which is usually the best strategy anyway. We'll be talking more about this in the leveling section. Let's go ahead and look at another early game board that focuses on a specific chosen, Diana. This board assumes that you found a chosen Diana. Both traits are good, but one of them does not really scale into an actual comp, namely Assassin. Syl is an extremely strong trait since some of the items are decent on her and she can carry the early game along with 2 Moonlights. The next step would be a 2-star Moonlight and then have a 3-star chosen Diana. This is good until you level up enough to transition out of this comp. If she is a Moonlight chosen, then you know the drill. You play another Moonlight, most likely Lysandra, and aim for 4 stars. Even though it's been nerfed, it has incredibly strong early game and can carry your HP, even if you start losing later. A similar opener to this works with Vayne chosen, either as a Dusk or Sharpshooter. You have the option of really going for a Vayne reroll, though it's a fairly iffy comp. Still, Vayne can carry Warwick items really well, like Hurricane and Deathblade, and you could give them to him later. Field 4 Sharpshooters if you can early, with Teemo and Nicolai or Jinx and appropriate Dusk units like Thresh, depending on which chosen trait that you got. The next opener is a generic chosen opener, and this can be worked into an actual comp or just a strong transitionary early game, trading it in for something else. Cultist Duelist Warlord chosen opener. When you open with this, you already have a strong advantage, provided that you can find the 3rd Cultist or Warlord. Yasuo chosen is always good early, especially with the right items and some support from his frontline. The common ground of these openers and the reason that we put them together is that they all have the same playstyle early, or at least a similar one. With Cultist chosen, you have a very real option to go 9 Cultists, especially with the strong early game that can help you find enough health to reach Zillion. With Warlord chosen, your early game is fairly set, but you'll need to invest in some items, since stats are not enough to carry them. Sunfire, Ionic, Guardian Angel are all viable and interesting options, and you can always transition them into Dusk mid-game, who will fit those items well. Finally, Duelist chosen. If you followed our videos, you are aware of its strength, as one of the most stable comps on the set overall. You don't actually have to commit though, and Yasuo is a strong item carrier for Jhin, Warwick, and so on. Don't pick Fiora Duelist however, unless you have really good items to go with her. She can use her spell a lot as a chosen, but her squishiness remains. Early champions. Now let's look into champions that if you get early, you are definitely using and getting a lot out of it as well. Careful, this is not about chosen champs, just vanilla strong early ones. Starting off, we have Kindred. She and Wolf are the stars of the show early. Her spell is spammable even if you slam any mana-oriented items on her. AP items work too, and she does a ton of damage at 1 star. If you get her off great boxes early, buy immediately. And if you find Aphelios for some hunting, then whew, it's on. Next up, Pyke. This guy can be a game changer early game, setting whole teams up positioned correctly and netting you those close victories that you might otherwise not have gotten. His damage got nerfed a little bit, but he still remains a very strong contender early, especially if you can squeeze him in with the cultist chosen or 2 other cultists to get that Galio going as well. Shen Zhao is surprisingly strong enough you can get another duelist and have him carry items early. It's not the absolutely monstrous pick that Kindred is, but he scales well with health items, since he gets armor and MR on his own, and they can eventually help him survive longer to get there. With fights being longer early on, he can actually reach really tanky states. He falls off later, but he can turn some tables around early on. That's about it for individually interesting champions, but there are so many others that can be useful to you, depending on your setup up to that point. Items for the early game. There are some items that are better than others in the early game. If you follow our tier list, then you might be familiar with them. Zizirot Portal is amazing early on as it provides faster mana regeneration, a taunt, and extra unit, as well as tons of health. If you're confused, attack speed means more mana from auto attacks, and the taunt means more people hitting you, so more mana from that as well. Zizirot is amazing on early tanks that can actually use mana, but you know, Tahm Kench won't actually say no. Guardian Angel might not be absolutely amazing early, but it's pretty great on a 2-star tanky unit like Garen, whom the opponent will have trouble killing twice sometimes, while also getting Beybladed at the same time. Similarly, Sapphire Cape is a free win early on into the game, even though its value drops off big time later on. It has already paid for itself by netting you so much gold from early win streaking. Hand of Justice is good for so many different champions that it is actually excellent to say that is an early slam and a strong item no matter what comp that you play later. It's also one of the few great uses of tier. Try to put it on champions that would benefit quite a bit from both the potential procs. Ionic Spark is not the auto slam that it used to be, but with Riven being really good with it again, it is definitely a strong option. As it remains, its ability to synergize really well with frontline spell users allows them to do a lot of extra damage. That's gonna be it for the items. Other items like Affinity Edge are not terrible slams either, but it's usually better to be a little bit greedy with those, as they lock you in a little bit more than the ones above. Leveling options. Alright, let's go ahead and think about how to level up in the early game. There is always a choice between 2-1 or whether to go 4 or not. The choice is simple. Do you have a strong enough board to win streak if you level? Then, if that's the case, level. Do you have 10 gold if you don't level? Then it's probably best to sacrifice the first round to gain that juicy interest gold. If your board is or can be strong with the next shot, you can level next turn without losing interest and start win streaking anyway. Is your board terrible? Well, then don't level, but pick units to have a chance of killing something at least, like early sharpshooters, which can usually kill 1 unit, or Twist of Fate with an item. Now, regardless of what you did at 2-1, at 2-3 you are level 4. However, if you leveled at 2-1, you are 4 out of 10 XP at level 4. You have the choice of what is called pre-level into level 5, which will allow you to get better chances for Chosens and 3-cost champions. All you have to do is press that buy EXP once and leave yourself at 8-10. You'll naturally level into level 5 after a carousel and get the free roll at that point. The chances for 4 costs have been further reduced in 10.24, but it's still possible to get them, especially since the chances are so low. If you get that 4 cost, your board's power will increase no doubt. You can go ahead and still level up to 5 on 2-5 or 2-6 if it's necessary for you to maintain a win streak. A small note on loss streak in the meta is that they are extremely dangerous. If you cannot recover it early enough, you'll be taking a ridiculous amount of damage and have so much trouble later on into the game. If you do lose streak, make sure that you have at least good items and a good gold start. That way you can go ahead and reap the maximum benefits. The early game is something that you really need to practice in order to climb, since they can be such a source of consistent LP game through repeated top 4 finishes. Preserving HP is extremely important, so make sure that you use openers that you learned today. Remember, next patch is probably not changing much, so what you learned here is going to be evergreen for quite a bit. Now go out there and climb that ladder. As always, we love your feedback and continue to bear it in mind while we create our videos. Hit us in the comments with your experience of using econ strategies that you learned today. See you in the arena, stay safe, stay healthy, and have a wonderful day. Peace.